Hi, welcome to this week's Craniosacral conversation. Possibly because of the snow and lots of it, I can't see my video, but I'm gonna record and see later, check back later if there's an image on this. And possibly if there's volume or not, because now I'm not seeing the volume either. So let's see what happens. um, I am Caspian. I welcome she, her pronouns, and I identify as a craniosacral practitioner, which means that I am somebody who just practices again and again how to communicate with body, how to communicate similar to body, how to live multiple relationships in one body so that we can learn how to live multiple relationships out of body, as in with multiple bodies, each other. And I just love how we are multiplicities, um, but I really love having a hint at who we are, what we are, by what shapes we are. And so I'm going to talk about the shapes of carbon today, which is why I hope the video works, so I can show you some images of carbon. Now, there are a lot of resources out there talking about why life on Earth is carbon-based. And one of the resources is this video by Arvin Ash, Arvin, second name Ash. Why is all life carbon-based, not silicon? 3 startling reasons. And I really like the structuring of the 3 reasons. So the 3 reasons are because of carbon's stability, complexity, and abundance. So let's start off with abundance. Carbon is not the most abundant element in the solar system, in Earth, or in Earth's atmosphere. Actually, oxygen is the most abundant on Earth, and nitrogen has 70%, makes up 70% of Earth's atmosphere, whereas carbon is just 1% or like less than 1% of Earth's atmosphere. The most abundant elements in Earth's atmosphere are hydrogen, helium, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. And what's interesting is the most abundant elements in bodies. Now, carbon is 20% of bodies. The most abundant is oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and calcium. So carbon is abundant. It's just not the most abundant around us, but it's one of the most abundant in us. And oh, my brain is a little sleepy today. So yes, abundance is needed. It can't be a rare element that our life is made up of. But abundance isn't the only factor that's needed. What's also needed is complexity, because to make up so many parts of life, all of life on Earth, there needs to be the complexity of forming different types of formations, such as chains or circles or single bond, triple bond, double bond. I missed that one. So let me show you some of those images, because a practitioner, a craniosacral practitioner, can imagine carbon underneath their fingertips, touching in with the person receiving a craniosacral session, and have these images of carbon held in the mind, communicating with carbon in this way. And so I wanted to show some images of carbon. So carbon can bond with itself, and the reason that carbon can take on so many shapes is because carbon has 4 electrons on their outer shell, which is their second shell, and that's important later, I'll say. And so carbon can form all these different types of shapes. This is you can see the triple bond. So imagine the single bond is kind of like the one, the other opposite side, then it'd be like a double bond, triple bond. So these are like the images of carbon. But so carbon has 4 electrons on the outer shell, its second shell, and that means that um, elements want to have eight on their outer shell. So carbon can connect four times, can share, and that's part of the reason that carbon can make all those different types of life on Earth, all those different configurations have that complexity is because of that four. Now, carbon's not the only one, such as like silicon can do that too. Let me double check that silicon can do that too. But the thing is that, like I mentioned, that's the second ring of electrons. And the amount of electrons is based on how many protons the element has, but the electrons on the outer ring, happiest at 8, lowest energy point. And carbon has 4 on their second, which makes carbon more stable. So carbon's pretty abundant, um, very complex in the sense, like I said, 4 outer electrons, so can make 4 connections. They share 4 electrons, but this outer shell makes it stable. That's the second outer shell because other elements have the possibly the 4 bonds, but on the third shell, which means it's farther away from the nucleus, which means that it's less stable. That it might go off with some other element. Those electrons might pull away from the atom, the element. So having that is really important. That's why carbon became the basis for life here on Earth because of abundance, complexity, and stability. So when thinking about what to offer gratitude for ourselves, offer gratitude for the abundance that we are, the complexity that we are, and the stability that we are. And seeing that stability doesn't have to mean not complex. And like I said, during a craniosacral session, the person receiving can connect with the carbon that they are by imagining those carbon um, configurations. And let me show another image of some carbon configurations. Um, and a practitioner can connect with the complexities that people are by imagining the carbon configurations that they are as well. So thank you so much for seeing each other in these multiple ways, these complex ways, these stable, abundant ways. And like I said, you can incorporate that into your session by imagining what carbon looks like, feeling the connection with everything from like, bacteria, fungi, mushrooms, humans, trees, like everything is carbon based here on Earth for life forms. So you can connect with carbon by imagining the through line of carbon with all of those other life forms, or with imagining those images of carbon when imagining what the inside, the small, tiny parts of humans look like, or the person underneath the practitioner's fingertips in that moment. So thank you so much for sharing this single conversation. I might have to redo it if this didn't record properly, but here's hoping. And if you can, if you live in Mni Sóta Makhóčhe, Bdeóta Othúnwe, Minneapolis, Minnesota, homelands of the Dakota people, and then the neighboring Anishinaabe and Ho-Chunk people. If you can show up, please follow Camp nenookaasi. There'll be eviction. There has been eviction notices happening for I believe an encampment on 5th and 24th. So please do follow social media as the eviction is set for tomorrow, which shows the cruelty of the Minneapolis mayor, that this eviction is happening during a winter storm warning when people need shelter and that death is possible during these winter storms. So please show up, follow Camp nenookaasi, and just thank you all for being a part of seeing each other and growing ways that we can practice seeing each other and seeing who's in front of us. And showing up for encampments is a way to do that. And I just want to wish all of you a nourishing week. I hope that you are seen in the ways you want to be seen by who you want to be seen by. I hope that everyone everywhere has access to the resources and encouragement to be, share, nourish, and feel the gifts that you are, that we are. Thank you so much.